Hi all, my voice is going away, so we're gonna pre-record Wednesday's lecture, and hopefully it'll be nice to follow. So we're gonna talk about consonantal sounds today, specifically the different places of articulation, and it's unfortunate that I can't show you in the mouth where this is happening, but after giving my voice a day of rest, hopefully on the tutorials for Thursday and Friday, we'll be able to go over this again and show you in detail so that way you're not missing out on the physical part. So consonants are any sound that have some obstruction in the oral cavity. What we mean by this is that the tongue, the lips, the teeth, there's something happening that's like restricting the airflow. It's not just a free airflow from the throat all the way out of the mouth. And the thing about consonants is that we can describe them with three different dimensions. So on Monday we talked about voicing, today we're going to talk about place of articulation, and on Monday, if it's not a holiday, we'll talk about manner of articulation. So the place of articulation is where in the mouth is the obstruction occurring. So is it occurring at the lips, at the teeth, at this ridge behind your teeth? Where is it happening? So as a review, we talked about voicing on Monday. So we have voiceless sounds. This is where there's no vibration. So things like p, t, k, s, f, the f sound, h, if we don't produce the vowel after. And we have voiced sounds. So this is where we have vibration like z, v, m, z. And we have that vibration. So again, air is flowing out from the lungs through the larynx, and that's causing this vibration. So every consonant is either going to be voiceless or voiced. And as we go through this lecture, even though it's online, I still recommend that you practice the sounds and learn what these feel like so you can make that mind-muscle connection. So this is a side diagram of your face, and to represent voicing, we can take a look at the larynx here. If we have a straight line, this means there's no vibration, so it's a voiceless sound. But if we have this little wavy bit here, we get vibration, so this becomes voiced. So this is how we can read a face diagram. We're going to learn the different parts as we go through, sounds by sounds, but this is just one general distinction that we can pick up on across all face diagrams. So we have some terms here. We're going to learn each of these terms. I'm just showing you them all at once. So in a diagram, typically we have our lips that protrude. We have a nasal passage that's pointed out. We have our teeth. We have the tongue. So we do have a gap underneath our tongue. That's what allows it to move around into different positions. And then going further down, we have our larynx. What I encourage you to do is, if you're confused about how to pronounce any of these sounds or what's actually happening, is to use this resource. And if you click on any of the sounds in the IPA chart, you can look at an MRI or an animation of how these are produced, so you can actually understand what's happening inside your mouth the same time you're pronouncing them. You may have some variations depending on what's happening, depending on your first language, that contrasts with what you see in the animation. So just be aware of that. We're going to go with sort of the standard expected pronunciation of Western Canadian English speakers. So watching the animations, making the sounds at the same time, and understanding the connection between what's happening in that and what's happening in your mouth is going to be really helpful going forward. So we're going to start with the bilabial sounds. Now, bilabial directly translates to two lips. So bi means two, and labia means lips. So bilabial sounds are sounds that are made with both of your lips. We see the voiceless sound p. So this is the symbol for p. If you see that, it's always going to be p. We see it in words like pitch, happy, flap, and pan. So typically it's written with a P, not always, but most of the time. We have its voiced counterpart, b. So we see this in bar, rubble, job, butler, and we can see here on the diagram, the two lips are closed. So this is what happens before air is released. Air gets held up behind the lips, and then it opens up and it produces those sounds. So p. So this is going to be a diagram of P because we see no voicing here. But if we were to pick a voice diagram for B, then we would get the vocal folds vibrating there. The bilabial nasal sound is M. So this is going to be a voice sound, and this is also nasal. So with M, you're going to get airflow actually going through the nasal cavity. So you would see this bit actually open up here, and there'd be a blank space behind the velum for air to flow through. So it sounds like minus and hammer and wham. So those are made with your two lips. Next, we have labiodental. So again, labio meaning lip, and dental meaning tooth. So this is made with your lower lip, as you can see here, and your upper tooth. So this is your F and V sound. So F is the voiceless version, like in flavor or calf or rough, while V is our voiced counterpart. So these are words like Venus and lives and save. We get vibration in our vocal folds. So feel that with your lips and V. Feel how your lower lip is touching your top teeth there. The third place of articulation are interdental. So again, inter just means between, and dental means teeth. Now, your tongue goes between your two teeth, and you have continuous airflow. So we have the voiceless think, and this is the theta symbol. This is a tall theta symbol. So words like think, bath, ethereal. This has the voiceless version. But we also have a voiced version. This is called eth. Usually we would write this as theta, and eth would be written as eth. Some people write it as edh for eth, but this has the voiced property. So this, though, father. You can feel the vibration with those words. So these are new symbols that you may have to memorize or become comfortable with. Flashcards can help, or just practicing transcribing a lot of words. Like maybe you see the word hither, and you ask yourself, well, which one is this? Well, this is voiced, hither, so you can write down the symbol and help you commit that to memory. We have a lot of alveolar sounds. So behind your teeth, we did this on Monday, if you drag your tongue backwards, you'll start to feel your tongue moving upwards. Right before it moves upwards, you have this hard ridge here. And this is where you make a lot of sounds like t, d, n, l, s, and z. So we have a voiceless sound T, so like in trade, mat, falter. We have a voiced version D, so it's the same as T, but it's D, so durable, tied, made. So we get that voiced version here. We have a voiced nasal counterpart, so the same as D, but you'll have air flowing through the nasal cavity. So this is noise, noggin, ban. You can see that it's the same place as D, so you can hold it there, but let air go through your nose. Made, maiden. We have L. So this is another voiced sound, and this is called a lateral sound. So this is made at the same spot, but air is going underneath your tongue, around your tongue, rather than on top like other sounds. So light, fall, tremble. You can feel your tongue going up to the top, but air is still able to escape. So those are 4 of the alveolar sounds. Show you 3 more. We have the voiceless S, so airflow is continuous here, like straight, mass, rancid. And we have its voiced counterpart Z, maids, zebra, present. So you can feel the vibration there. Don't get fooled by English letters. S is sometimes pronounced as and sometimes pronounced as Z. You gotta pronounce the word to figure it out. We have one more here. This is called a rhotic sound, and this is also voiced. the word like running. So this is r, r, r. It doesn't feel like it's at the same place as T, D, S, and N, but the front of your tongue is there. It's just not touching. Far, attack, So you have some tongue bunching up at the back in this case that's making it feel a little bit further back, but it is at the alveolar ridge. It's important that this symbol is upside down. If we were to do the right side up R, this would be the trilled R in Spanish. I can't pronounce it myself. I'll try. Perdo, perdo, per. It's very difficult for me to do, but that would be the trill. So make sure that you're using the upside down R because that is the English R. So try this yourself. We did learn for triumph the other day that this is not quite the same M. That's a bilabial sound, but we'll just pretend it is for this exercise. So pronounce these sounds and try to feel in your mouth what they are. And then write down an answer. So I'll go through these now. So triumph. If we were to emphasize it, triumph, then we would hear that it's bilabial. But in a lot of cases, if you say it fast, triumph, then what you actually get is the labiodental version. So it really depends on how fast you say this word. It's either going to be bilabial or labiodental. But for the most part, we're just going to assume it's bilabial for simplicity at this point. Sold. So you can feel this at that ridge there. So this is going to be an alveolar sound. Sold. What about thoughtful? Thoughtful. You can feel your tongue in between your teeth there. So it's between your teeth. So that's going to be interdental. If you want to practice with more sounds, you can always test the other ones out here, see where they are, and you can ask me on Discord or on Canvas or on email if they're correct, and I'll tell you whether or not they are. Just a few more sounds. So here we have a lot of new symbols, and these are what are called palatal alveolar sounds. You might also see these as alveol palatal or post-alveolar. These are all in like very minorly different places, so we'll just use the terms interchangeably: palatal alveolar, alveopalatal, post-alveolar, whichever one sounds nicer to you. It's just a little bit further back than the alveolar ridge, so a little bit further up. The first one we have is our integral sign. This is called esh, and this is pronounced sh, like shrimp, bash, lashing. We also have, this is voiceless, just to be consistent. We also have the voiced counterpart, zh, zh. This is called ej. So treasure, azure, vision. It has that zh, zh, zh sound. Further back than the alveolar ridge, really try to feel where that is in that alveopalatal area. Zh, zh, sh, sh, zh. Next, we have some combination sounds. So this is still one sound. We'll talk about the specific manner of these going forward. We have the first one, ch, which is voiceless. We usually think of this as a ch sound. And you can see it's t and sh occurring pretty much simultaneously. So if you say ch, you can hear the bit of the t and you can hear the sh. In fact, if you were to hold ch, it suddenly becomes a sh. So ch. So we hear that in chirp or batch or chump. We also get its voiced counterpart, j. So as you can see here again, a d followed by a j almost at the same time, j. And if we hold it, j, we get that j sound, j. So this is where we get badge, jump, fragile, that j, j. And our last set of, well, our second to last set of sounds are the velar sounds. So this is further back in the mouth. So if you say k, this is voiceless. You can feel your tongue in this region here. This is the velar region. This is where your velum is. This is the thing that opens up in order to make nasal sounds. So kick, call, to can. And we have its voiced counterpart, g, so g. gone, grumble, bag. The only difference between K and G is that voicing, but they're at the exact same place doing the exact same thing, but with one your vocal folds are vibrating, the other it's not. And then we have our final nasal sound. This is sometimes called angma. So running, hitting, ink. The only difference here is that, again, air is going to flow through your nose. But the same thing's happening. Air is being stopped at your velum, and it's just being redirected through your nose. So the same as a K and a G, but air is going through that nose. So this is an N with a little hook at the bottom. So this is your... I like to think of this even as like a combination of an N and a G. It kind of looks like it. So ing. Finally, we have our glottal sounds. So this is made at the glottis. So this is this area here on a face diagram. This is going to be a horrible drawing. Just pretend that's the bottom, and this is where your vocal folds are. This would be produced at this location down here. So we have a glottal stop, which is like this. It's a little hard to hear, but if you say uh-oh, it's the sound in between the and the o. We have this in words like button, like I have a button. So we don't normally pronounce a T, a D, or like a flap there. We don't say button, we just say button. So it's sort of this, like, it sounds like you're almost stopping the air temporarily. And this can look like this, or sometimes it has a little line underneath. Some people abbreviate it as a question mark in text, but it's not a question mark, it just kind of looks like it. And the last one is happy. So this is voiceless, that H sound in happy. Huh. Happy. Aha. Uh-huh. Huh. 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 So this is made at the glottis there. And you can hold this one, so you get a little bit of a vowel there. So this one might feel like it's voiced, but it's because a vowel follows so closely after, and all vowels are voiced in English. So it does feel sometimes like it's voiced, but this is typically a voiceless sound for Canadian English speakers. So another few practice exercises. Again, try to pronounce the sound and feel where it is in your mouth. So again, I wrote labiovelar, but these should all be labiodental. So America, America, k. So that's at the back. That's going to be a velar sound. Canada, Canada, da. You can feel your tongue up against that hard ridge behind your teeth. So that's going to be an alveolar sound. New England, glind, gl, g, England. Sometimes we have to isolate the sound, so g. This is at the back, the same place as the K. This is going to be a velar sound. Finally, Washington, sh. It's a little bit further back than the alveolar ridge, sh. So this is going to be a post-alveolar sound. So the more you practice with this, the more you make these sounds, and I recommend doing this over like the period of a next week. Just keep saying these sounds, keep trying to feel where they are in your mouth, and connect them to the terms. Most of them are explanatory, just taking the Greek and translating it into English. But some of these, like alveolar and velar, these are just terms you have to learn. So one more practice exercise. And this is putting everything together so far. So pronounce the word, pronounce the sound, determine the voicing, the place, and try to remember the symbol. So again, the symbols are going to come with practice. You can refer to the lecture slides for now, but if you want to do really, really well, again, trying to remember these and, practice them a lot is going to help. So the first one, trick. This is a voiceless sound in trick. This is made at your alveolar ridge, t. You can feel it hitting that hard ridge. And this is a straightforward symbol, it's just T. What about catsup? P. Okay, so this is going to be voiceless. When I make the P sound, I can feel it with my two lips. So two lips just translates to bilabial, and this will be a P. So a lot of the symbols are going to be straightforward. So let's go into the symbols that aren't so straightforward. Next one. Whether I say leisure or leisure, that zh is the same. And I can feel my vocal folds vibrating. So this will be voiced zh. And this is just behind your alveolar ridge. So this is going to be palatoalveolar or postalveolar or alveopalatal. And this is going to be your zh, your edge, the Z with a little curl. What about mapping? Ing, ing. It's a nasal sound, so we're going to get voicing there. In fact, you can feel ng. You can feel some vibrations. This is towards the back of the mouth. In English, this is velar. And this is going to be your eng, your engma, your N with the little hook. Looks like an N and a G together. Finally, wither, wither. You can feel some vibrations there. That's going to be voiced. And th. Your tongue is between your two teeth, so between teeth, interdental, and you might have to remember the symbol here, which is eth. So this is like your partial derivative sign with a little squiggle through it. So eth. It looks like a D with a little squiggle. It might help to think like a I don't know. In my head, it's kind of a squiggly D when I think about the sound anyway, but like a continuous th. That might help. So we'll practice a lot more in tutorial this week with the symbols and the descriptions and figuring out where all of these are in your mouth. But I hope this was a decent online, 21-minute lecture to go through things. So if you have any questions, I'll be available on Canvas, Discord, all of the normal places. It's just that my voice is going, so hopefully it's good for tutorial to go through this on Thursday and Friday. So if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to ask. But I'll see you in tutorial, and if you're not in my tutorial, I'll see you next week.